So far we've done some systems of linear equations with substitution, we've done some graphing, and so today we're going to talk about a third method, which is called an elimination method. And now I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I solve systems of linear equations, I typically will use elimination. I do use substitution if it's an easy one, but I often will use the elimination method because for me it's an easier method. I don't always have graph paper and all of that. But let's just review a little bit. So we have this, it says, what method was used to solve this system of linear equations? Well, we can see here that this was graphed. And so the graphing method was used here, and we know that because that's what was done. And so the method used was graphing. And we can see the final solution, this kind of isn't, you can't see the line there, but it is there, is 1, 2. So remember, our final solution is always an ordered pair. And then we look at this second equation, and it says what method was used to solve this one. Well, we can see here that we knew that y was equal to x plus 1. And so in place of the y here, we put x plus 1, which means substitution was used. So those are the two things we've done so far. One solution right here, 1 and 2. And let's just check to see if that works. 2 equals 1 plus 1. Yep, 2 equals 2. And 1 plus 4 equals 5, so that works. Because remember, 2 times 2 is 4. So that works. So those are two of our ways that we're going to solve these systems. Now we have a third way, and it's going to be called the elimination method. And the elimination method is when you're going to eliminate one of the variables and you're going to solve for the other variable. So what you're going to do is you're going to write your equations in standard form. Your x's, your y's, and your constants are all going to be written one under the other. So you're going to line them up. So the x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, and your constants are lined up. You're going to choose a variable to eliminate. You might have to multiply one or both equations by a constant so that the variable you wish to eliminate has opposite coefficients. That's the key term. You're looking for something, a way to make opposite coefficients for one of the variables. You're going to add your equations, and one of your variables will be eliminated. If your signs are the same, you're going to add the opposite of the second set of equations. So you're going to subtract the entire equation, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. You're going to then solve for the remaining variable, and then you're going to substitute back in to get your answer. So when we look at this example here, we can see that the x's have opposite coefficients. Remember, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. We've got a positive 1 and a negative 1 for our x's in our two equations. So those are opposite coefficients. When I add those together, I get 0. So when I take this equation, I'm just going to rewrite it so we can always refer back to the equation that we started with. When I take these two equations and I add them together, and I'm going to just line them up just like that, and when I add them together, I can see that the negative x and plus x equals 0. So those x's are gone now. And so what happens, we can see that gives me 0 right there. Okay? But then what happens is we then add the y's, and we have 1y plus 2y equals 3y. 1 plus 5 is 6. And just like that, we've got 3y equals 6, which we can easily solve because we know that 3 times 2 is 6. So y equals 2. And so that's one part of my answer. Okay, so now I'm going to take this 2, and I can go to either of those two equations to find out what x is. I'm going to use the first equation because that's going to be the easiest one to do. So I've got negative x, y is 2, right here, plus 2 equals 1, because y is 2. And so I have negative x plus 2 equals 1. So I'm going to go negative x, and I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, equals negative 1. Remember, we cannot have a negative x in our answer, so we have to divide both sides by negative 1 or multiply by negative 1 if we want to do it that way. And we're going to get x is positive 1. So let's just check our work. 1 plus 2 times 2 is 4 equals 5. And so you can see it's the same solution we've had so far because we've used the same equation. We've just written it in different ways. So my answer is 1, 2. And that is the first step to elimination. So in a few minutes, I'm going to stop this video here so it's not too long. But on the next video, I'm going to do some more notes with elimination to show you what happens if we don't have an easy add out to 0. In that the coefficients are different, or maybe they don't have opposite signs. So what are we going to do in that case? So hold on for more videos, and we'll do them in a minute.